Hey there, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I have to forewarn you, I have a blog that's Potpourri of Health that is strictly focused on health things. So if I ever say anything like Potpourri of Health, I'm talking about the same thing, but this one is going to be derived more not just on health things, but a potpourri of things that are going on in my life. Um, Healing aspects, nutrition, how I cook, how I preserve food. Um, my new thing, I've always gardened with flowers and herbs and that, but one of the things I'm doing now is more gardening of vegetables and stuff. And that came to be because 2 years ago, when the world went to chaos here, I just I couldn't find edible food that was appealing. So I was going to the farm stand, and the farm stands that I really like is like an hour and a half away. So, but this year with the gas prices and stuff, I had to make a change. I was like, I'm having a garden because the food I was picking up at the grocery store, if I bought fresh produce, even in their organic section, it was going bad in a day or two. No matter how I try to keep it from going bad. So, but I've done a lot of fermenting, which has helped. I've learned how to do the fermenting. I've learned how to, these are some cool things that I've really enjoyed doing. Learning how to ferment, how to make kimchi, and I really like kimchi. It's very probiotic. You know, we all want probiotics, but I'm one of those, all those over-the-counter probiotics, they just didn't work for me. But the kimchi seems to be working really well. So I'm going to stay with that, and I'm going to keep working on it so that my kimchi gets better and better. It's inexpensive to make. It's just a matter of some patience and allowing it to get better. The purpose of this video series, hopefully it goes for a long time. It'll be on YouTube. I might be putting it on Rumble too. I don't expect to be sharing a lot of controversial stuff. I don't expect to be doing fear-mongering. One of the things that some of the videos I did watch, you know, they were talking about what's going on in this world. I mean, how can you not see it? But I don't want to be political. I do not want to, I mean, I guess we all get political at times, so hopefully I'll be able to keep it down a little. I don't want to cause dissension between anybody. But it's going to happen. Somebody's going to not like something I said. And one will be, I will admit that I am a long-time Christian. Been a Christian since I was a teen, early teen. And I'm proud of that. Baptized when I was about 14, so a couple years later. There are times I've walked away when I moved out of my house, my mom's house, but I went back because I needed to be reminded of what God was in my life. So I may share some things like that. I may share some things about my faith. That does not mean that I'm trying to convert you, but I do believe that when we share of who we truly are, it makes us more genuine. We're more authentic, and people can say, okay, this is where she's coming from. Part of my focus will be on nutrition. I try to do more with the garden. I think I already said that. But I also don't want to forget that even though I try to do as much as I can holistically and naturally, that does not mean I don't believe in the science of allopathic medicine. If I didn't, I wouldn't be seeing a lot of the doctors I have seen. Now, medicine has changed over the last couple of years. I have let go of some physicians, and I miss our old school physicians. We have a few left, but within the next 5 to 10 years, I'm not sure if there's going to be many left, and that saddens me because just some of the experiences that I've had. I think people, you go into medicine, I think their intentions are great. Everybody wants to help one another. And I worked in healthcare for about 4 years. No, I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be. All I can share is the things I've learned about herbs, the different tea blends that I make. And I can sell some of those on, I'll probably sell some of them on Etsy when I get things going here. But there's a lot of things that I've learned, and I want to share that with people. People have asked about stuff. But before I do, and anytime I share anything about herbs and how it's helped me, I will always remind you that what works for me may not necessarily work for you. It's the same thing with allopathic medicine. One medication might work for your situation, but for somebody else it might not, because their body responds very differently. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the ability to understand how things work. But you also have to be open to the fact that if I share something, you can't get mad at me, because you tried it and said that, oh, well, she said. No, I will always share that this has worked for me, or might say something to the effect that this has worked for other people, and I'll share some health benefits from those things. But other things that I'm going to be sharing that I'm really excited about, I'll be sharing some of my sewing projects. I'll be some of the fun things that I have in front of me. No more masks, that's for sure. I did a lot of that. I enjoyed making them for my family, some friends, and all the healthcare workers I provided them. That was a privilege to do. It was an honor. And I studied I really researched it before I made it, and now everybody's buying them over the counter, or some facilities require the paper masks, which I don't agree with those, but organizations have to make choices for themselves. But I do think that with all that has gone on, we as a society need to respect one another. Now, you don't have to agree with me, but I honestly believe that we do. We can't live in a society that is filled with hate, because nobody survives that. Sure, you can survive. I call myself a warrior on different levels, but you can't go through life hating, because what that does, it destroys you as a person. It brings your person down. It's just not healthy. So I hope that through my videos I can encourage you to pick up a musical instrument. What kind of instruments do you play? I play a flute. When I was in high school, I played sax. There's some instruments I want to learn. I did dabble at the piano because my mom was a piano teacher. She just didn't want to teach us kids. She had enough, I guess. But I do know how to dabble at piano, but oh no, if you got me on a piano, you'll say that, yeah, she's a beginner. But, I do love my flute, and I loved playing. I had an organist that I used to play with. She was, the two of us, we did well. But she moved to Florida, so we don't get together anymore. And she got me playing at weddings, more in the church and stuff like that. And it was a joy. But I've always played in the church, when there was opportunities to play my flute. But so what I'm saying about music is, even if you don't play an instrument, there's so many genres of music out there. Find something that brings you joy. Some can be Christian. Some of my favorites are Christian, soft rock. I like some hip-hop, not a lot. I like country. I love country. And then there's some modern music that I like, and I'm sure there's a bunch of others that I like. I'll just start listening to it, and hey, that's great. But it could be one song out of that artist, and the rest of their songs I can't handle. I love musicals, but I like the old classics. So when I feel down, that's what I do, is I put on music, or I put in a comedy that makes me laugh. And some of the comedies that I watched during the worst of the pandemic was, my husband and I always watch MASH. We watch MASH at least one episode a night. And he recently picked up The Munsters. And there's one part of the introduction where Herman Munster kisses his wife, and he has such a proud look, and tickles my funny bone, and I burst out laughing, and I can't help it. My husband starts laughing because he likes hearing me laugh. But that's what I'm saying. There's things in life like Friends. I would watch that nonstop. Seinfeld. Now, are these appropriate for young people? Well, I'm in my early 60s, so I don't have to worry about that. Would I watch them in front of my grandkids? No, I won't do that. But they allowed me to get through when my days were bad. So we may talk about that. I'll talk about some of the sewing projects that I'm doing, and I have some exciting things that I'm working on. I have some quilts that I have wanted to make my children, but working for other people for so long, I never really got around to it. So now's the time, and I have some special people in my life that have made an impact for me, have cared for me and done things. So I have some things I hope to accomplish within the year or two, and just as a way of saying I appreciate you, thank you. Some of the things that I make are, I recycle a lot of things, but some things like my gifts to my children this past Christmas were, I don't like using paper towels. We have them, yes, I buy them, but I don't like having to use them because it's like you use it once for water, and so I rather have something that if we're going to use it, throw it in the wash and have it back again, so it's not being wasted. Now, my husband was using paper towels to just dry things that didn't fit in the drainer. That drove me nuts. So I made these, and those, you can use, and when you put the dishes away, you can hang them, they dry, and use them a few times before I throw them in the wash, because those are clean dishes. I mean, to each his own, and I know I'm kind of anal about cleanliness, but that doesn't mean that I'm that bad. And there's other things that I do. I repurpose a lot of materials, and so making those towels, I did use new materials for my kids. It was their Christmas gifts, and it was something that I had previously picked up, and I wanted to make them. It was something that they wanted, so they all got a nice set, and they've asked for new ones, and so my daughter has given me an idea that she would like to try, and this daughter is in Croatia now, and it's kind of exciting because she's a special needs teacher, and she's really, really good at what she does. And parents liked her, parents hated her. It was kind of one of those things, but she loved her children. And she and her husband don't have children, but her kids in her classes were her children. And you could tell, she could never tell me names or anything like that, but once in a while she would talk about a special child. And there was joy, just like a parent has when they have joy and pride in their children. But she's over in Croatia now, and she's going to be doing some, I don't know if she started it yet or not, but she's going to do online teaching. Please excuse the noises. I am in a residential area, and the road gets kind of busy at this time of night. Let's see, it's about 6 o'clock. I didn't realize it was that late. And kids are at the park, they're playing their games, and it gets kind of busy. It's sometimes a little noisy for my husband and I. Our desire is to move a little, the black flies are finding me. But we hope to someday move to another area that has a little bit more property and closer to my husband's new job. And so it's a little noisy out there, but hopefully the birds are making more noise than that. But back to what I'm going on. So I enjoy making things for my kids, but I also like making them for other people. So if I make extras, they'll go on Etsy. And no, I don't make things to give them away. I mean, some things I do as gifts because that's me. My heart just wants to do things for other people. But some things you have to kind of cover costs. And doing a video, there will be ways that hopefully I can make some money, but that's not why I'm doing it. Hopefully these conversations will lead to people learning, gleaning new information, and being a support. I'm not sure how much I'm going to do in the selling aspect of promoting products and stuff, although I will share where I can get some things and allow you to choose how you go about it, and my experiences with stuff. What are some, I did write them down because I can get very, very wordy. Okay, so I will talk about what I know about herbs and herbalism. And I started that back before I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, which was in 2014. And I had to go on treatment for 4 long years. And I should still be on it based on my conversations with my Lyme specialist. But he knows that I am functioning and I feel better on what I'm doing psychologically. And I know that if I get the treatment he recommends, we might be able to kick some of those other things out. But every time I get off even my herbs and stuff, just to take a break, things come back. And so within a week, I'm right back on my stuff. So I'll go into how I make tinctures, how I use herbs in my diet, how I make supplements. Yeah, I make my own supplements. I fill the capsules, and that's what I use. They're vegetarian capsules, and I use those. And if I'm making a smoothie, I don't use the supplements. I just put those items into my smoothie. I haven't been doing a lot of smoothies, but summer's here, so there's a good chance that I'll be doing more smoothies, which is, for me, a lot easier than doing supplements. You get tired of swallowing pills. What are some other things here? So my gardening, I think I mentioned. Some of the things I cook. People make comments on the salads that I post on Facebook and stuff, and somebody once asked me, you should really teach how you make certain things, because I do a lot of canning. I try to do some preserving. I do preserve using the freezer, but with the way that things are going on, and I'm not going to fearmonger here, we don't have a backup for electricity. We have a generator, but my husband needs to fix it, and he's not even sure if he can. So we need to look into getting the battery. Actually, I did order that, and then there was another piece that he needed. So once those come in, I think it's going to come in next week. So I'm praying that he can fix it for a lot less than buying a new generator. And this generator was passed down to us from my father-in-law, and he passed it down to us a few months before the first time we'd gone out without electricity. It was at Thanksgiving time, and everybody was out without electricity except my daughter, where she was living, wasn't. So we took everything over there and cooked it. But it was the first time we were out. The electricity was out for 2 days, and it was kind of like ironic because our house never goes out with electricity. So it was just very bizarre. So it was kind of neat to have that experience with the generator, but we don't use it very much. So, but he turns it on every winter, or up until it stopped working. We have the gas, we have what it needs to run, but so he's trying to get a new battery and some part. I am not an electrician, and I'm just not about to be. I'm not no mechanic. Although if it comes down to it, I can do pretty much a lot of stuff, but I don't want to do that. So hopefully that'll work out, and then we'll have a backup. But for now, what I'm trying to do is take food from the freezer and just try to preserve it in another way, cook it up and can it. And so this is the first time I've ever canned hamburg. When I started seeing people do it, I'm thinking, you guys have lost it. But you know what? It turned out pretty good. And yeah, when you get done, there's some fat on the top. But, fat is in our meat, and that's what gives it flavor. And we have to be aware of that. Some of the things that, some new things I'll be working on is I'm going to be making lard. I know that sounds like a horrible thing to make, but it's actually good for cooking. And it's better than the store-bought shortening. Now, the only thing I've ever used shortening is snickerdoodle cookies, whether it's gluten-free or regular flour. Shortening is the only thing that I've been able to use that makes those cookies what they are. Real butter, I don't use shortening, and even dairy-free butter just didn't make them the same, so I would use shortening. But I'm going to be learning how to make. I just got my pork fatback. Yeah, my fatback pork. I think that's the way you call it. because I just discovered a farm who actually delivers to us. They deliver meat, they'll deliver produce, but since I'm growing my own salad greens right now, I'm not needing that. So I ordered some raw milk because I want to make my own butter. I'm making my own ghee. Oh my gosh, that is so easy and so much fun. So I will show you how to do that if you haven't already seen it elsewhere. But to make lard will be interesting. I got that. It was a small order. I got the milk. I bought some honey, some local honey, and some local molasses. No, not molasses, excuse me. Maple syrup, because we made some gluten-free pancakes the other night, and we were running out of maple syrup, and I only buy the natural stuff. I don't buy anything at the grocery store. Some people are fine with it. I'm not. I like it fresh from somebody who has done the work. I have one maple tree in the yard. I don't think that's going to be enough to make a gallon or even a quart of maple syrup, so I'm just not going to bother doing that. I will support somebody else who's doing this for a living. What else did I get? I think that's it. No, and then I got sweet potatoes and regular fingerling potatoes because I don't have any. But I'm really excited because I'm growing potatoes this year. I didn't know how I'd be able to because I really don't have the yard space. We live on a 1/4 acre lot, and our yard is an extension of our home in the spring through fall. And I love my yard. It's very, I'll miss it if and when we are able to move, but I love it for what it brings me, even though it's loud at the park. Right now I'm in the gazebo and it's very cool. It's comfortable. It's very relaxing when I'm not chatting away. And just check the time because I don't want to go too long on you. But I enjoy it. But what I'm doing it for my garden is I'm doing some raised bed gardening. I'm doing tote gardening too, like totes that people use to store things in. I wasn't sure how this was going to play out, so I had to give it to God. It's like, how am I going to do this? Because I desire to grow food. And so, wouldn't you know it, on a free cycle group, somebody was getting rid of totes. Some 6 to 8 inch deep ones, long ones. So that's where I put things like lettuce and kale. I have some cabbage in one. Stuff like that doesn't need a lot of dirt to grow. So, but my regular potatoes, they're getting high. They're getting I think they're about a foot, maybe 15 inches tall, the plant is. But I've done a lot of, over the last couple of months since January, I've been, like I think I mentioned, I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to do this, how to do that. And I've been watching these people that are just real people. Some of them are professionals, some of them are long-time farmers, some of them are, this is just what they do. And they're things that I've been doing for a long time. Some of them are Christians and some of them aren't. The ones I started watching, they're more of a fear-mongering. Buy this, buy that, you're going to need this. And I got to the point where, we would buy what we needed, basically. But I got to the point where it's like they were pushing that all the time. The one thing that I know I need in my life is God. That's my choice, and that's what brings me peace. But to grow my own food, that's a gift to be able to do that. Now, I didn't buy seed potatoes at all, but I watched a farmer. I watched a few people who grow from the potatoes that go to seed. So I planted those. I'm like, what have I got to lose? They've already gone to seed. They weren't green, but they were getting all these things, and it was like, I had bought too many. So I just put them in the tote, the first batch, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It was just, both my husband and I are just so excited. I don't know if I'll get 6, 12. I hope I get a whole bucket full. Now, because they're in a tote, I don't know if that's going to restrict their growth, if that's going to restrict how many large ones or how many small ones. This is just experimental, but it's exciting for me. The lettuce I'm doing a lot better on. Some lettuce doesn't go so well. I started some peppers and tomatoes inside, and then when I introduced them outside, we were getting cold weather, and even when I brought them out, I didn't bring them in time. So some of them did well. They're kind of stunted, so I don't know how they're going to be doing. And so I did buy some extra ones just to kind of I think I bought 6 tomatoes and 6 peppers. And that should be more than enough if my other stuff doesn't come up. And I didn't get cherry tomatoes. A lot of people say, did you get cherry tomatoes? I'm not a cherry tomato person, although I do like them fresh off the vine. What happens is I get so many cherry tomatoes. What am I going to do with them? I don't want to sit and peel a bunch of little tiny tomatoes to can them. But maybe I could do something with them. I don't know, but not this year. So I have celery growing. I've started some. I think people have shown, maybe you've seen it, where after you cut most of it, you have the root part. And I've got a couple of those growing. Not as well as the other ones. I threw in some seeds. I'm also doing raised beds with bales this year, some hay bales. I use them mostly to keep some of my plants up off the ground. We've had trouble with groundhogs in the past, but last year we didn't have any. But you know what? You got to do what you got to do to kind of preserve what comes into your property. So let me see. I've got some radishes. I'm growing. Sorry, I just looked over to where the stuff is. I'm growing some spaghetti squash from seeds that are harvested from my last spaghetti squash I had. I'm doing that with a lot of things, so I'm kind of hopeful. Yeah, I bought a lot of seeds, but a lot of my seeds were for flowers and herbs and a few vegetables, so we'll see what happens, and I'm excited about that. So throughout the course of the summer and into the fall, you'll be seeing some of the things that I'm harvesting. I'll show you how I'm going to use different herbs that I've selected. Let me see. So basically, I'm not sure. Let me see if I want to say anything else. One of the things that I want to say, you already know that I'm a Christian believer. And I don't know if I'll always share a part of Scripture every single day. But this is my first video. And so what I do want to share is, based on everything that's happened over the past couple of years, how it affected me. I just want to share Scripture with you. It's from 1 Thessalonians, it's chapter 5, verse 16 through 18. And it's, rejoice always, pray without ceasing. I did a lot of praying. Give thanks in all things, and I always try even when I cried. For this is the will of God, Christ Jesus for you. Life has not been easy, but I also believe that we have hardships in life so that we do pray. But it's not just praying for us, it's praying for others. And when we have hardships, more so in health situations, I think, it makes you more compassionate to other people. It makes you less willing to judge others. And we've got a very judgy society right now. I think we always have, but I think it's gotten worse. And do I judge? I probably do. I think that's the human side of me is sometimes we're just why wouldn't they do that? But then I have to stop and think. And then I have to ask God, that was wrong. Forgive me. I don't say it that way either. But the other thing is, I've always had a heart to pray for other people. They don't know I'm praying for them. And yet, then I see somebody who's sick, and I'll let them know I'm praying for them. And it's not just words. I actually do pray for people. This morning, I know somebody who was scheduled for surgery today, and I doubt the person will even know that I'm doing this. Today's May 27th, and they went in today. I did not know the time of their procedure, but at 3:30 this morning, I woke up, go to the bathroom, And normally, I've been having a great sleep pattern since around for a good couple of months now. And I could not get back to sleep. And this person was on my mind. And I'm like, so I just started praying. I just started praying for his, I don't know if he has anxiety, but I prayed for peace. I prayed for calmness. I prayed for the physicians, the surgeons, and the whole OR staff that'd be working with him. When you go into surgery, at least for some of us, we're confident with our providers, but that does not leave us with a sense of fear. I've never gone in thinking that I was going to die, but, I'm one of those that told my husband, if I die, I die, just let me go. But that's not why we're going to surgery. We go in to fix something that needs to be repaired. And I've had enough to say, yeah, I've had my share. And because of the surgeons I've selected, I've been calm. But that doesn't mean that my concern wasn't so much of dying or not having things fixed. My concern was, will this be the right answer? And I think for the most part, all my choices have been accurate. Sometimes I wonder why I made them, but they've all made improvements. So I've learned from that not everything in this world is going to make you into a perfect human being. We're all going to have imperfections. It's not going to solve everything, but many of them take away our pain. So when I think about this scripture, rejoice always, even in our bad times. We are supposed to rejoice, and it's really hard to have a spiritual, grateful attitude when life is throwing when life is throwing stuff at you, and that it's like you don't have enough arms to protect yourself from it all. So you have to give it to God. For me, I have to give it to God, because when I start getting angry, I fall apart, and I hurt, and I feel guilty, and I feel bad for the people that I may have hurt because I got angry at them. How my husband's put up with me, I don't know. But, the other thing is God has given us unshakable promises. And for me, that provides hope. It doesn't give us answers. It doesn't take away our pain all the time. But it gives us hope. And so I said that I wasn't going to get too religious on you, but this is who I am. And not all my videos will have scriptures, I don't think. I might share a quick one. But mostly it's about balancing how life is affecting me and how I'm coping. And I hope and I pray this whole world stuff is over soon. But I do know that I'm confident that I've made some changes recently that will make things better for me, and I'll be able to stay focused. And when I felt like in December, when I decided to no longer have in-house clients for sewing, where I felt like I had no purpose, I think I found my purpose. And somebody asked me to help with a study. I don't know where it's at right now, but when I got that call, I felt like that might also be my purpose. I don't know where it is at this point, whether I'm going to be on the board or not, or whether I'm just going to be that person that provides some feedback. All I know is that I have let go. Okay, I've let go for a while, for a few weeks. I know me. We all have weaknesses, and I'm trying to improve on those weaknesses. So hopefully by sharing some good things every single day, or at least a few times a week, I don't know how often I can do this, but I do know I have to be very careful. We're at 34 minutes here. I do have to be careful not to talk too long. Many vlogs, videos are about half an hour. If I was on streaming, I could talk to you for hours. And my husband might rather me do that, because when he gets home from work, I'm kind of like, yep, the poor guy. he has an hour drive, so I talk to him for that hour on the way home at least. Sometimes I get up with him, but I'm slowly adapting to get away from that because the hiccup in my sleep is affecting me, and I really need my sleep. So lots of changes have happened for us with everything. We've gone from him working right down the street to him working an hour away. He has a different shift than what he's had before, but the nice thing of it all, I have not seen my husband this happy in so long, and for our relationship, that has been unsurmountable. When he was having a tough time with work, I was there for him. It was exhausting. When I was dealing with Lyme disease, he was there for me. And that's what marriage is about. It's not about looking at where the grass is greener elsewhere. And I will never profess that our marriage is perfect. It's perfect in the sense that it works for us, and we're happy. We love each other more than words could say. And I think all people love, I mean, my heart is full of love for many people. But we respect each other. But like I said, nothing's perfect. There'll be times he'll drive me crazy. Because I talk too much. I'm going to drive you crazy if I don't shut this down. But please know that I hope that this video series through YouTube, or if I go to Rumble, I hope my goal is to be inspiration, to be a teacher of sorts, and that sort of thing. I won't give all details out because I just can't, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to write out recipes and stuff like that when I start doing that, because it's very time consuming, and I have to limit how much time I provide. I'm not even going to edit this because I don't know how. This is the first one. I need to get a camera that I can edit, or I need to be taught on how to do this. I don't know. So I'm being truthful here. You get what you get. It's real in the moment. But I want to thank you for joining me today. Put a thumbs up. Say that you like. Subscribe if you're interested in following me. I would really appreciate that. But if not, if I'm not your cup of tea, I hope you give me a try a few more times until you make a final decision. You know what? You can always unsubscribe. But I hope that if this is what you're looking for, I hope that you subscribe and you follow. Well, I hope you have a nice evening. We're expecting some rain, which is much needed. But it's so gorgeous. It should be a restful night. I hope that all of you who are listening, you have a wonderful evening. We are preparing for Memorial Day weekend. Let's honor those men and women who have died to serve our country. There's many out there, many in our generations that have done this. And I am so grateful for them because they are who gave us our freedoms here in the United States. So, blessings and have a nice evening. Thank you so much for listening.